Squad! What's up, y'all? It's your boy AI, the Animated Intellectual, and let's get into it. So, episode begins. I was right. More magic talk, right? So, we see Luz's notes and everything talking about, what's it called? Talking about, the light glyphs and everything, because after the second episode, right? After the second episode, Luz was just like, how were you able to do all that? And wow, did I not even mention this in the second video? I don't think I did. I'm an idiot. Lo siento. So, Lilith, my goodness, was talking about how, the reason that Ida's glyph didn't work, the super glyph, is that the shapes, the circles, the glyphs, they command magic. So you gotta lay them out one at a time, draw them in a circle so, they can communicate. They're like words. Whereas the beings that evolved on the island, they contain the magic so that they don't necessarily need to do it in this roundabout way. They just do it. They contain the magic versus, all right, these are the literal building blocks, the individual pieces that you have to put together like on a basic level to make magic happen. It's kind of just like things that exist versus the atoms that make them up. You get what I'm saying? So you can't just, say get something and now move just because it can move. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, it's creating life. Let's say a plant or a robot the Legos or something that you buy. Something like that, right? A robotic Lego set, right? It's one thing to just be like, okay, I did boom, 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 and it's moving. That's, the magic part, just like pressing the on switch and getting something to go versus, wow, that was a really bad example. Let me say your own body, right? You have, the skeleton, the muscles, the nerves that connect to them, and then the contracting of the muscles that causes movement. So we do it. It's just like, okay, movement. It happens. Versus if we just had a piece of bone laying somewhere, a piece of skeleton, muscle tissues laying somewhere, a couple nerve cells laying somewhere, and just being, okay, and then just stacking them on top of one another and saying, okay, create movement. No, it doesn't work like that. There's specific processes that you have to go through to interconnect these separate things to get the kind of outcome that you want. And that's what magic is like. Yo, I'm telling you, this is going to end up to be like Full Metal Alchemist. And we see like her something. Wait, I wrote this down somewhere. I will edit this out because I know I wrote this down somewhere. I forget where I wrote it down. But we see Luz's, first and foremost, the arrangements of where she was putting circles on the glyph and even on Lilith's side too. It's like, okay, so placement matters in the circle somewhere. And now I love that they're doing this because doing stuff like this puts more context on Full Metal Alchemist. I'm telling you, the magic system in the Owl House is going to be just like the alchemic system in Full Metal Alchemist. And it's just the placement of a glyph in a specific circle somewhere matters in the overall context of the spell. So there's a lot of learning that you need to do to say, okay, I want this specific thing to happen. This specific glyph needs to go on this circle or inner circle in the context of the rest of the glyphs in the spell in this specific order to make this specific thing happen. And Luz was messing around with an invisibility spell, and we saw all this for just her creativeness to make this. And it's like, yo, I see all the studying that Edward and alchemists of his caliber just have to do just to make something happen. Now I understand why he's regarded as a genius, why he's a childhood prodigy, Would Edward Elric be the Golden Guard? I don't know where I get it. I impress myself. I impress myself so much. So, yeah. And again, Luz was looking at, light. That's power, reflection, all that stuff, all the context that light specifically can play into, and applying that to the same thing as the rest of the glyphs. This is going to be fantastic. I love it already. Now, we go, and, King is being king. He starts telling his lies about the king of monsters. Lulu just, flexing her education, as a lot of, intellectual snobs do. I'm guilty of that sometimes. We all are, but you got to know how to rein yourself in. There were no king of monsters, and I'm thinking, okay, King is just being king, telling his lies. But, no, he's not. So, King was just like, okay, bet, I'll prove it to you. He gets the staffs, and, Luz is trying to encourage them to just go along with it. It is what it is. And Hootie's like, I'll come along. And, oh my goodness. The sounds that Hootie made, taking himself out of the door and putting himself into the travel size version. Porto Hootie, who was adorable. Just, I'll let Luz and them describe. It's just, oh my god. Oh my god.
Porto Hootie, reporting for Hootie.
Yeah, those guttural, visceral sounds. Thank you to the animators for turning away. Thank you. Love and appreciate you. Because that, even... And we saw organs. What is Hootie? I want to know. That's what I want to know. So, continuing on. So, they find the island. So, they're talking about that, right? And... they're flying out into the middle of the boiling isles for hours upon hours. And again, you forget that world. It's literally the Titan, that continent, right? That is the Titan, that landmass. That's it. The rest of that world is essentially uninhabited, at least on land. We know the Selkie-Damas, and there's other aquatic life that can stand there. Wait, is there an underwater civilization, maybe? But as far as we know, it's like Pangea on them. That boiling isle, the Titan's decayed dead body, is the whole entire world. We don't know how big the world is, but assuming it's like a globe somewhere out in their dimension. Crazy. So they're flying there, and they actually find an island. And Lulu's just like, okay, wow, this does not show up on any map. And so King was just like, it always showed up when I was looking for it or something. And it's just like, oh, there must be something here. And there's just more layers of truth going into this thing, going into it, more and more and more. We see the symbols that Lulu's saying she never saw before on the metal thing. And even the metal itself, that material, doesn't know what it's made out of. Which is, King's collar. Same thing. I don't know if y'all heard that. Sorry if you did. Yeah, so I'm sitting here like, King, like, bruh. King, you not lying? You really haven't been capping this whole time, King. Maybe not. So now, saying stuff that Lulu was saying, okay, there's a whole bunch of stuff that even us scholars don't know about, and I bet you that's on purpose because of the Emperor literally rewriting what happened in history, so to suit, his whatever goals of wild magic and stuff. It's all on purpose. So, and the sisters, Ida and Lulu, they're not that old. I mean, they're still fine. They're not that old, but, history would have definitely been altered by their time. So, by their time to study it, so even they wouldn't know. So, I'm not surprised, you feel me? So now, why is the doorway shaped like a key? That's my question, And... like a key kind of like to the dimensional door that Luz is trying to recreate. The key to the human world? That eye that opens up, is that a demonic eye? Things, pieces falling together. Who knows? We don't know. So now, King... Oh, man. We see the drawings now, right? And I'm just like, yo, King looked boss before he got hurt. Like, we see the horns bent out, and it's like, yo, I love the trope of there's always some cuddly looking thing that after it gets hurt, it reverts back to whatever version, but its real life looking version was some big old monster thing that you would never guess. So we have King here. This is a deep cut for anyone old cartoon fan. If you remember the show Martin Mystery, created by Marathon, the same people that created Totally Spies, both fantastic shows. Ganthar, who they also called Billy. For any of you Webtoon fans, Jin Mori from The God of High School, shouts to the Monkey King. And for my degenerates out there, King Deviluk from To Love Ru. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, so the cave painting, we see King, what appears to be King, holding up a spear to some giant monster thing. And I'm sitting here like, was that the Titan? Maybe? I don't know. It could be. Could potentially be the Titan. Or just some big old, was it breathing fire? Something like that. So, who knows? There's more, there's just uncovering more and more about this world. So now, oh man. So all that happens, and then I think Ida comes through to help them because, you know, she saw them leaving. It's just like, dang, you know, they went to the island, and saying that all this stuff is a farce, and, you know, all that stuff happened. And just, man, the face that King made when he looked up and saw that Luz also thought he was lying this whole time, man, that broke me. Because you know the feeling, like, you know, the one person that you think is in your corner isn't. That's rough, buddy. That's rough. So, he was heartbroken, you know, after Ida told the story. And I would be too, because think about it, right? Literally everything that you lived your life by assuming, everything that you built yourself up to be, everything that you thought you were was a lie. A farce. And not only finding that out, but finding out that the people that you love the most, that you trust the most, were in on it and helped create it. Like, yo, that would break anybody, man. That's rough, buddy. That's rough, King. But, you know, he's resilient, and, you know, he bounced back, and yeah. So now the horrible monstrosity, which that was really clutch. They're fighting it again, this, that, and the third. Hootie was so dramatic. I love it. You know, using him as the bazooka, like, that was all a clutch. And using the invisibility spell, which, how it's tied to holding your breath, it reminds me of, shout out to any of our Hunter x Hunter fans, yes, X, Melioron, the chameleon chimera ant, his whole power, the perfect plan and God's accomplice, it was invisibility based upon how long he could hold his breath. So, deep cuts, I'm telling you. Anime fans work on the Western cartoons that we love. They're anime inspired. You will not tell me any differently. You're just not. So, that was great. So now, doing that, and they make it all the way up to the top of the spire, the top of the tower, right? And, oh man, seeing that King was just like, you know, I was born here, this, that, and the third. And we see that King was hatched. King was hatched from an egg. He was hatched from an egg. Looking like the egg from the Sun Warriors place from Avatar The Last Airbender. So that was beautiful. And, you know, King was just like, it's not that muffled roar meant son. I think that was my dad, this, that, and the third. And Luz put the dots together. Maybe that was your dad who we saw in the cave paintings. So, King isn't necessarily the king of all monsters. He's the prince of all monsters. So, he's Vegeta pretty much. So, that was, man, what an episode. Another great episode. Just the plot thickens. The plot thickens. I am really enjoying this. So, yeah, I guess King is the son King is the son of the king of all monsters. King is the prince of all monsters. So that's another underlying story factor for the rest of the general mythos. What happened to the monster kingdom? They had some kind of ruler. There was some kind of hierarchy. What happened? The Owl House has the potential to go for a very long time. If they do this right, the Owl House can last for a very, very long time. Like, put it up there with Steven Universe, even longer. Like this, I don't know, man. This could turn out to be another one of Disney's flagship shows. Easily another Star versus the Forces of Evil, which I am watching that now, and wow. But, yeah, another solid episode. And I have more of these to go watch. I am so excited. So I'm gone. I'll see y'all in a little bit talking about the next episode of the Owl House, episode 4, and I'll see you in a little bit. All right, y'all. Be sure to like and subscribe, comment. I want to hear what y'all got to say. I'm not really tapped into the community like that. I'm kind of just my own thing, but I want to hear what y'all have to say. And yeah, I'll see you in a little bit. AI out.